One of Vicky Kaushal's coolest habits is that he lets people know that he's excited to speak with them. In this clip, after the host gave him a great introduction on the interview, watch how he responds.
So sweet. Yeah, Nikhil, I have to say, this is probably the best introduction I've ever had in my career so far. And if I can just take this clip and just use it for all my future interviews, I'll be highly obliged.
Starting off an interaction like this is the most important way to set yourself up for a great conversation. One easy way to do that is to speak through a smile.
I always had in my head when I used to daydream that, one day I'll get to do something like this. So it was fun.
This kind of enthusiasm is infectious, and it can turn a boring conversation into a more engaging one. Then once you're in a conversation, you can easily switch between topics using 3 words. Reminds me of. Watch here as they're talking about actors becoming complacent.
Yeah,
I
that's the biggest
just have
mistake
to-
people
yeah,
do. They lose focus on what it was that was working for them.
Now watch how he starts talking about what this reminds him of.
And also there's this beautiful poem called If by Rudyard Kipling.
Success and failure just the same.
Just the same.
But it doesn't always have to be so subtle. We can see him literally say, "This reminds me of here."
So that song was popular.
You talking about your songs reminds me of something.
This brings us to banter. Now, if you want to connect with someone, banter is one of the best ways to do that. Here's a great example from him. For context, he was just talking about dancing in an acting school to one of Katrina's songs.
Basically, one could say that in a small way, I've had a fairly large hand in helping you craft your...
Now, this is how banter starts. What she said is obviously an exaggeration and a joke. Instead of answering literally, he takes what she said as true and then starts building on it.
skill.
I'm so thrilled
happy
to be
to know
sitting with
that.
my guru over here today.
Oh, no. Okay.
This is a very common trick from improv comedy and it's called yes and. You accept what the other person said is true and then you build on it. And you also just saw that this is a great way to make people laugh and have fun in the conversation at the same time. We've talked about his habits of speaking, but I think his greatest strength is that he's an active listener. At the most basic level, you'll see him nodding along when someone is speaking. And you'll also see other signs that he's actively listening.
A person who I think, works for this industry or for any industry, authenticity is always what works. Me, I realized right now, I think it's the places where I feel that I'm learning something.
Wow.
Where I feel that I'm learning.
These are not tactics that you copy. This is just what active listening looks like. And listening doesn't mean just sitting around quietly in a corner and letting the other person bore you with their stories. Sometimes it can mean briefly interrupting the conversation. But when Vicky does this, notice that he doesn't take away focus from the speaker. In fact, in this clip, when he interrupts the conversation, he does it to make the speaker look good.
But I know some other film would come and would break that record, and then Stree 3 will come and break. This is just a. I like it.
So how can you start doing this today? The simplest way to do this is to paraphrase what the other person said and reflect it back to them.
He was like, you're going to find it if you just, if you just submit yourself to this process,
Surrender completely.
you're going to find it.
This is a very simple habit, but it is one of the best ways to connect with people. Everybody wants to talk these days and nobody wants to listen. And you also see Vicky ask questions that make people want to open up.
How was it for you to kind of gauge that? Because that shift from knocking doors to this literally superstar that you became, and just that shift, how was that for you?
Everybody loves talking about themselves. That's why this kind of question where you ask someone about their experiences will help you connect better with the other person, because this will invite them to open up more to you in conversation. And once you are listening like this, let your curiosity guide you. Guide conversation towards topics that you are curious about. One of the best ways to do this is to talk about your experiences when you are asking a question.
Do you think also because it became like kind of an outlet for you to express what you have inside, to just do it through a character? Because that sometimes happens with me, and I really juice it out, because I just have this garb of playing a character, but I really want to
We all love to talk about our favorite movies, anime or TV shows. So the next time you're discussing your favorite piece of art with other people, before you ask them what they thought, talk about why you liked it. Most people never stop to think about why they liked something beyond something super basic like they thought it was good or bad. But just adding an extra sentence or two to talk about what you thought was special about your favorite movie or TV show is going to drive you much closer to connection as you're having a conversation with other people. I hope you found this video helpful. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more videos just like this.